seen it before. It turns truth into lies. Oh, but I won't back down. I must stay on this road. I gotta know what I'm about. It goes up and turns back down. We're all looking for the moment when, getting used to not knowing when all the pieces fall in line. Oh, it goes up and turns back down. I keep searching for signs in my dreams back then. I don't know how to stop, 'cause it brings back
So let me ask you a question. Do you have a Facebook group? Have you started a Facebook group? Maybe you've collected a few people in a Facebook group, but maybe it's laying dead. Maybe you tried that. Maybe you haven't tried it. Is it possible for us as messengers, people who have a transformational message to share, to build a community online, for example, a Facebook group, and actually end up having them convert into customers in a non-salesy, non-spammy way? That's the topic of today's show. Welcome, everybody. This is the Market Your Message show. We do this live every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. I see we got some people here. Depending on where you are watching from right now, we've got people watching over on YouTube. We have people on Facebook. Say hello to a few people. I've got Laura here. Welcome, Laura, watching over on Facebook from San Antonio. Awesome. We got some of you watching over on Facebook. Welcome, you guys. We got Marilyn tuning in over in California. Glad that you're here. And yeah, if this is your first time catching us live, just put the word new into the chat wherever you're watching from. And yeah, I'd like to say hello to you. So quick question. I want you to post this in the comments. Yes or no, do you have a Facebook group? Now, I'm not talking about a Facebook page. That's different than a group, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. But a group allows for you to gather a community around an important topic that you have and allows for interaction, allows for a community to build, as opposed to a fan page where it's just you have the ability to post. People can like or comment, but they can't create posts. There's some limitations. So let me know yes or no if you do. Meanwhile, say hello to Marla. She is saying, yay, I'm new. Marla, so glad you are here. This is our live taping of our show. In just a minute, I'm going to actually do the teaching part. That'll become a future podcast, a future YouTube video, blog post. But you're going to be able to catch it here live. And then stick around for the after show, because I'm going to answer your questions. You can post any questions, whatever you're working on, or questions about today's show, and I'll take a few moments to answer your questions, give you some mentoring, coaching, and feedback. Paul says, have a page, not a group. Laura says, yes, she does have a group, but it is new. Fred says, had a Facebook group. It died a slow, painful death. Listen, I know what happens for a lot of people is you just don't know what to do, right? And a lot of the gurus out there are just like, just go post 3 or 4 posts a day, grow your group. And you have to do that because each post isn't going to be shown to all of your members. So you got to post a lot of times and it just wears you out, right? Why am I doing all of this work? When truthfully, what if you could post once a week and it's a super high engagement post that gets shown to most of the people in your community? And also, what if you were to grow that group and you had some knowledge and strategies and you were able to build that group to 300, to 1,000? We've been able to build our Market Your Message community to 3,700 people. And we just did a workshop inside that group and it was awesome. Some of you were a part of it. So I'm so excited to be walking you through that today. All right. April says, I run a group, but for someone else, not for me. Well, April, we need to get you running a group for you. Awesome. Thank you guys for all of your comments. So what are we going to learn today? What are you going to discover? Here's what you're going to discover today. Why you should use the social pond strategy in your business. This is something I wrote about in my book, Your Message Matters. But we're going to talk about it in a little bit more detail today. Why in most cases you should not sell directly in your group. This is a big mistake that a lot of people make is people go to Facebook not to buy things, unless of course they're in looking at the marketplace. But for the most part, people are there to interact, to have conversation, to build community around things that they're passionate about. This is important that you understand that. How to build your email list? when people join your Facebook group. I talked a little bit about this in the last show, but we'll talk about that more today. All right. So it looks like we are ready. Got a lot of people here ready to go. I'm excited about walking you through this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch microphones here. All right. So let me just bring this microphone in so you guys can hear me. And this is the podcast mic. That's why we move into this mic. Let me turn it down just a little bit. Looks like it's a little loud. Okay. So we are now going to jump in to the show. I'm going to do some teaching. I've got my iPad ready to go. I'm going to teach a little bit on this iPad to walk you through this process. And this is the process that I am using and that I am starting to do more teaching on for people in the Insiders program or those in Market Your Message Academy. So you're going to get kind of a good overview here of how this strategy can work for you. So with that, here we go. Hey, so do you have a Facebook group? Maybe you had one and it died a slow, painful death. Or maybe you've thought about a group, but you don't know the difference between a page or a group. And as a coach or a course creator, how can you leverage a Facebook group into customers? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. Hey messengers, welcome to the Market Your Message show. I'm your host, Jonathan Milligan, and author of the book, Your Message Matters, How to Rise Above the Noise and Get Paid for What You Know. Now, today's topic, I'm going to talk about why it's important that you go build a social pond. Now, if you've never heard of that term, it's something I've made up. I talk about it in my book, but I want to walk you through this today, exactly what that means. And I like to use an analogy of fishing. Let's say you have a pond. I have a pond in my backyard, and let's say that pond had no fish in it. That would represent, for most of us, the way we get started online, right? We create a blog or we have a podcast. Maybe we have a YouTube channel, and it's crickets. No one is showing up. So how do we get noticed? How do we get people to pay attention to us? Well, one really smart strategy is to go where your audience is already hanging out. Now, for 90% of you that are tuning in, that's going to be Facebook. Facebook is the place that many of you should consider building a community. And the best way to do that is by building a Facebook group. But here's the deal. People don't necessarily go to Facebook thinking they want to buy something. Right? We go to Amazon, we're searching, yes, we're trying to buy something. Facebook, it's different. It's a social platform. So you can't make your Facebook group just post after post about buying your thing. It's not going to work. But what does? That's what we're going to be talking about today. In fact, here's what you're going to discover in this episode. Why you should use the social pond strategy in your business. Why in most cases you should not sell directly in your group, but what you should do instead, how to build your email list when people join your Facebook group, and much, much more. So before we get into this topic and really dive in, I want to make sure you know about how do you get started with this journey. Maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you've been blogging for a while, podcasting for a while, or even doing YouTube videos, but you don't know how to turn your passion into a platform. The best place to start is with my new book called Your Message Matters, How to Rise Above the Noise and Get Paid for What You Know. I've been doing this full-time online since 2011, and I took my 10 years of experience and packed them into this 260-page book, everything laid out step by step. And you, my friend, can get a free copy for a limited time. I bought a couple thousand copies from my publisher, and I want to ship it to you, to your door for free. You just have to pay for the shipping and handling. So go to yourmessagemattersbook.com and get that book, get your business going and get it started. Okay, so let's jump into this topic of a Facebook group. If you're a coach, meaning you want to sell coaching packages, one-on-one group coaching. Let's say you're a course creator and you have an online course and you want to sell your online course. Or if you are a speaker and you would love to do and host your own one-day virtual workshop, or you want to do maybe a 4-week boot camp. All of those scenarios work perfectly inside of a social pond strategy, meaning a Facebook group. So what I'm going to do, if you're listening to the podcast, I will describe it. But if you want to click on the link in the description, you can actually go over to YouTube and see me map this out on my iPad. But I'm going to describe it for you as best as I can. So I'm in my iPad. And so the first thing that I'm going to draw out is the Facebook group. So this is where we're going to start. It is free for you to go start a Facebook group, and there's different types of Facebook groups. There's an unlisted Facebook group, and that one is kind of like a private one. What that means is if you wanted to have a Facebook group that was just your immediate family, maybe your family is spread out and they all don't live in a local location, you could have a private or unlisted Facebook group, and that would mean nobody can find it, they can't search for it, and they can't request to join it. It's only by invite only. We don't want that as a coach or course creator. Now, another level is called a public open Facebook group. We don't want that either. And the reason why we don't want it open is because anybody can click on it and join. And that results in a lot of spam, lots of people you don't want in your group. And you can't, quite frankly, ask questions to collect things like an email address. So what we want to do is we want to go the middle of the road, and we want this to be a private Facebook group. Now, being private, somebody has to hit the button to request to join. When they request to join, you can ask up to 3 questions. And one of those questions should be asking for their email address. Now, you can't just say, what's your email address? If you want to get something, if you want to get the most email addresses you can inside your Facebook group, then what you need to do is give something in exchange. Like I have this free checklist PDF, leave your email address and I will send it to you. Maybe it's related to your topic, whatever it is. All right. And that's the way that you can actually collect email addresses and build your list in the process. But we want to do more than that with a private Facebook group. We want to figure out how can we build community, build a topic, and build a potential offer to sell. Okay? Now, I might do another episode on how to get people into your Facebook group, but that's kind of beyond the scope today. I want to assume that you have at least 300 members. 300 members is a good thing to shoot for in about 30 days. Some people can get there faster. Some may take a little bit longer, but 300 kind of represents a statistical significant a number of people in a group around a passion so that we can then create an event buzz or buzz around an event to get enough people excited that they may purchase from us. All right. So that's where we want to start. And there's lots of ways you can do that. We'll do a separate episode, but let's assume today that you've got at least 300 people into a Facebook group around a shared topic, right? So the next thing we want to do is we want to do something that is a live event. And really, we're looking at 3 or 5 days. And so you might promote this for a couple of weeks, letting people know, hey guys, in this Facebook group, I'm going to do a 3-day live workshop, or I'm going to host a 3-day live challenge right here in this Facebook group. It's completely free. Here's when it's going to happen. Here are the dates. It's going to be every day at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tune in. Now, what I love about this is you may be wondering right now, but Jonathan, I don't know how to do all the live streaming equipment and the cool graphics or how to show my iPad. You don't have to do any of those things. In fact, I think it's important to note that we sometimes let technology get in the way. Isn't that what happens? Doesn't that frustrate you a little bit to be like, I have this message to share, but it's like technology and marketing are the two things standing in my way from just a human to human connection. That's the beautiful thing about a Facebook group is it's free to do. You are gathering people into a social pond where they're already hanging out. You're much more likely to pull them into your world if they're scrolling on their own Facebook news feed, right? As opposed to pulling them to your website. And then here's the beautiful thing. If you have a mobile phone, you can go live into your Facebook group. That's all you need. All you need is a mobile phone. The technology is simple. If you've ever FaceTimed anyone, and a lot of us have, it's the same. It's just going live, sharing your passion, and then on day 3 or day 5, you say, hey, if you've enjoyed a little bit of learning around this topic, I'm going to host a 1-day workshop next Saturday. It's going to be for 4 hours on Zoom, and we would love to have you. The cost is $27, $97, whatever price point you feel like. So let me kind of map this out a little bit more on the iPad. So there's 2 offers that I absolutely love to do at the end of a 3 or 5 day workshop or challenge. The first one is a 1-day, kind of more of a deep dive, paid workshop. Now, what's awesome about this is you can do this on Zoom. Listen, I know there's not a whole lot of positives that have been coming out of the last couple of years with this pandemic that we've been going through, right? But here's the thing. Everybody knows how to use Zoom now. Everybody, every age group, everybody's used to it. Everybody's used Zoom in some capacity. I've got family members who don't even have Facebook accounts, and yet they know how to jump on Zoom. Zoom is universal, and so you can utilize Zoom. If you've ever been on Zoom, that's all you need to host your workshop. And so if people pay you $27 or $95 to attend your 1-day workshop, you give them a link to your Zoom where you're going to go teach them for 2 to 4 hours. The other one I like, if you want to go a little bit more higher cost, is a 4-week boot camp. Now, for this one, we are also going to use Zoom. You can also use Zoom for this boot camp. And let's say you decide to do 1 hour every Saturday from noon to 1 for 4 straight weeks. And in that case, you can charge closer to $197 to $497 or $500 in that scenario. Okay? It's that simple. Now, here's what's awesome about this strategy. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of bonus tips here. What's awesome about this strategy is there's 2 ways that you can turbocharge this whole system. The first way is to run this live event. Let's say it's a 3-day challenge. Run it 4 to 6 times a year. So a week boot camp. So you run your challenge, you invite people into your boot camp, you get, let's say, 5 people into your boot camp, you work with them for 4 weeks, you got 2 weeks off, and then you announce to your group again, I'm going to do the challenge, and you run the same challenge. Run the same challenge 4 times a year. And the reason why is you're going to have new members join, you're going to have people who weren't ready to buy last time, and now they're ready to get into your workshop. This system works. Now, there's one other bonus strategy that you can do during those 6 weeks to turn people into coaching clients. We'll probably do a separate episode on this, but this is where you use a simple post strategy that you do one to two times a week with the goal of pulling people into a messenger conversation. So what you could do is you could post and say, hey, I've got a PDF that shows you how to do X. If you're interested in this PDF, comment below in the Facebook comments, put the word PDF, and I will shoot you the link on Messenger. So then let's say you have 10 or 15 people from your Facebook group actually put PDF in the comments because they're interested in the lead magnet you have. Then you can go over into Messenger, send them a link to the freebie, and start having a conversation with them. Now, this doesn't have to be a super sales conversation. It could be start with as simple as like, hey, what are you struggling with right now? Hey, what's the biggest challenge for you? Start having that conversation, and to the point where you're like, you know what, would you be willing or would you be open to jumping on the phone and talking more about this? And then that phone conversation could lead to a one-on-one client for coaching. It could lead to adding them to your group coaching program. That's how this strategy works. So I'm curious, what do you think? Is this a cool strategy? Do you like this strategy? Let me know. It's very simple. We want to go create a social pond where the fish are all ready to bite. We want to serve that community. We want to create some kind of a buzz around an event that we can use our phone and a free Facebook group. Then we can pivot to making an offer, a very simple offer to buy our workshop or our boot camp, work with those people, and then repeat that 4 to 6 times a year. Now, I don't know about you, but that process is so much simpler than saying, go podcast for 2 years and hopefully you'll have 1,000 people on an email list, blog for 2 years, just go do, a YouTube video every week for the next 3 years. And again, I'm a huge fan of producing content. I'm doing it right now. But you know what I found? It's much more effective to produce content for people who are already in your world. In other words, to nurture people, because as you nurture people who are in your group or on your email list, they become more likely ready to buy from you. The secondary benefit is the extended organic reach, the new people who come into your world that find out about you. So I think those strategies are really, really important that you understand them. So there you go. This is how you can compress the path to success. Go find where your people are hanging out, produce free, valuable content to them, give them an opportunity for a paid solution where they can go deeper with you, and do that 4 to 6 times a year. You can do that, again, with a free group, Facebook group, and your phone. It's that simple. All right. I want to know if you enjoyed that episode. Let me know. We'd love it if you would take time to rate us, review us, give us a comment. Let us know if you're enjoying this. Subscribe if you're watching over on the YouTube channel. And also, if you haven't grabbed your free book yet, or you say, Jonathan, I love these strategies, I want more of this, it's all in the book. So go to yourmessagemattersbook.com, and that's where you can get your free copy. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Again, if you are struggling, if you're having difficulty, start with where people are already hanging out. Serve them well. Give them an opportunity to respond, to go deeper with you. All right, until next time, never forget, your message matters. All right, so I am back here with the live group. That's going to be the recording. Let me switch back my microphones here. Okay, there we go. All right, now I want to answer your questions. So what questions do you guys have? What we usually do here, since there's a lot of chat coming in from about 6 different places, is I'm going to answer questions for the next few minutes and also share your takeaway. So if you don't have a question, but you're like, ooh, I have a takeaway from today. It was like an aha moment. I want to remember this. One of the ways you do that is just put the capital letter T in your takeaway. And I want to answer a few questions here today. All right, let's see what we have here. Bum, moving through this. Here's one from Tom. Tom says, so I've always heard you should build your house community on ground you own. So if you have something like Kajabi, when would you pull people from Facebook to Kajabi's community? Okay, so Tom, I don't know if you're referring to one of Kajabi's products is like a forum, if that's what you're referring to, or if you are wrestling with this idea of like, you shouldn't build your empire on rented land. And that's true. That is very true. However, there's one caveat. I believe if you can do both in a smart way. So here's what I mean. I like, and what we teach insiders to do, is to start by building your platform. We like to do Kajabi or WordPress. And what we want there is we want to have our own virtual real estate. And on that virtual real estate, we're going to have our branding. We're going to give people an opportunity to opt in. We have our about page, those sort of things in place. Maybe a handful of blog posts for people to consume. Now, what I recommend is instead of just staying there and blogging for 2 years, hoping to build an organic audience, you need to go where people are already hanging out. So by going to Facebook right now, there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, Facebook is doubling down on groups right now. If you noticed on the recent Facebook update, they have a button now that says groups right next to newsfeed. They said on their most recent quarterly investor call, Mark Zuckerberg says we are doubling down on Facebook groups. That tells me there's more features, there's more emphasis. That's where you need to be. However, if you notice my strategy, it was collect email addresses, because ultimately you don't want to just be building your business there. So for me, what I do is I get people on my email list, right? I communicate to them. They buy courses that are in Kajabi. I can point them to a blog post on Kajabi once they're on my email list. I can point them to my podcast episodes, my YouTube videos, and all that's doing is it's building up the know, like, and trust factor to where they could purchase. But here's what's really, really difficult, Tom. It's really difficult to pull people from where they want to hang out over to you. I'll give you a quick example. When I started blogging way back in 2009, there was not really Facebook, Twitter. They were all just kind of getting started. So where did community happen? Because I want you to think about this. This is for everybody, okay? Because principles are true, but methods change. What's the true principle? Community. Community will always be around. But where community hangs out, different. It's going to be different. And so your methods change, but your principles are always true. I hope you get that, because that's a very, very important to understand that. Because here's what I'm trying to say. When I first started blogging, the community was on the blog post. And some of you old timers remember this, because if you follow people like Michael Hyatt, Jeff Goins, some of the other people, where was the community? It was in the comments of the blog post. It wasn't unusual for me to do a weekly blog post on Blogging Your Passion back in 2011 and have 74 comments in a couple days. And that's where I was answering, responding, building trust, building the community. That's where it was. It was also back then in private forums. But then guess what? A shift happened. And the shift happened into social media. That's where the community is. And so the question is, if you have a pond in your backyard that you know no fish are there, they never bite, but yet you have a friend across the street who has a pond in his backyard and he stocks it once a week with bass, where do you want to go fishing? Go fishing there. And then catch the fish, bring them back to your pond. Makes sense, right? In fact, this is kind of a funny story, but I told you I have a pond in my backyard. Well, I have a neighbor right on the other side of the woods that has a different pond. He has a boat, And every weekend he goes somewhere else and goes fishing. He actually brings back the fish and tosses them into his pond. You know what's happened over the last 5 years? His pond is where everybody wants to fish. Meanwhile, I don't know about mine. I hardly ever fish in it. That's the point, and I hope you understand that principle. Marilyn says, I get the concept, but it's hard to keep up with all the steps. They're still all virtual to me, but I get the concept. Yeah, and Marilyn, you're in Market Your Message Academy. I know I saw you come enroll, and we've got a bunch of people that have enrolled. And we're going to walk through this slowly over 6 weeks. So what you just heard me describe in 15 minutes, we're going to do it one step at a time together over 6 weeks. So you're going to get it. And by the way, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, right now, this week only, this is only the second time we've done this year, and this is the new 2.0 version. The first time we did it was way back in January. So this may be the last time we do it this year. I'm not sure yet. But if you have not heard, right now, Market Your Message Academy is open. So we have open enrollment going all this week until Friday night. And you say, what is Market Your Message Academy? Okay, very, very simple. This is what it is. Market Your Message Academy is a live 6-week video-based mentoring program led by me. So you're going to get a course and you're going to get coaching every week where I answer your questions live. And here's my goal for you during the 6 weeks. To help you attract your first 300 plus members into your Facebook group, launch your offer, and earn your first or next sale online. That's what the goal is. So if you say, Jonathan, that sounds good to me. I've been dabbling for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or I just need hand holding. I need somebody to help me step by step, or if I get stuck, help getting unstuck. That's why we've combined the course content and the mentoring together. So what I'm going to be doing over the next 6 weeks, starting next week, is I'm going to release about 5 videos a week on Monday. People that are in the academy are going to consume that material. And the goal is they're going to be short videos. They're going to tell you exactly what to do, show you how to start the Facebook group, how to, what you should put in your Facebook group, how to collect the email addresses, how you start promoting your Facebook group. So you're going to watch those videos. And then every Thursday, I'm going to go live in our private Facebook group just for Academy students. And I'm going to answer your questions, give you feedback. I will help you come up with the name for your group, help you come up with the name for your challenge, help you determine your price point, whether you should sell a one-day workshop or a 4-week boot camp. We're going to do all of this together, and I'm really excited about it. We've already got a bunch of people in the group ready to go, but you have to join. So right now, marketyourmessageacademy.com is open until Friday night. There's 2 options. You can pay in full, which will save you about $203. Or if you need a more budget-friendly option, we have a 3 payment plan. So you can go ahead, jump in, and get a part of what we're doing. Listen, what I love about this is there's simple ROI. Anytime I buy a course or a coaching program, what I'm looking for is, does this deliver ROI? Now, if you don't know what that means, it means return on investment. So if you were to sell just 2 people into a $500 boot camp, you would already make back your money. If you were to sell 10 people on a $95 workshop, you've already made back your money. And now this is a system you can use for 4 to 6 weeks, or 4 to 6 times a year, over and over again, right? Not only that, but everybody who's in the academy gets lifetime access to all of the content, even the updates. And we've got about 8 different bonuses as well. So I just want to encourage you that if you're at that place where you're frustrated, technology is standing in your way, you just want to get back to sharing your passion with people, you're tired of sharing it to nobody, and you want to gather some people together you need to go to marketyourmessageacademy.com. Awesome. All right. Let's see what other questions you guys got here. Paul's takeaway is need to form a Facebook group. It's awesome, Paul. Love it. Fred, this may be something you'll cover in another session, but how do you go about getting 300 members in a Facebook you created? Yeah, so we're going to do a separate session on that. I'm going to be teaching in the academy about 21 different free ways you could do it. And these are non-spammy, non-annoying. I don't like it when people are spamming and annoying. So we're going to be covering that. Another way that works really well that maybe some people don't want to start with, but eventually I would say a super smart strategy would be to run a Facebook ad to get group members. Now, I don't know if you want to do that unless you're ready to like have programs that you're going to eventually sell, coaching programs, things like that, unless you just purely see it as an investment to get your first 300 members. And you can't directly advertise a Facebook group. So you have to do it in a different way. The reason for that is because you can't use Facebook's domain name as the link in an ad. But what you can do is invite people to your Facebook group. They click on a link to a landing page you've created that says, join my group, and you can get the email address right then, and then they join your group. So that's a strategy eventually to like grow the thing on autopilot where you got 10, 20, or 30 people a day joining your Facebook group at anywhere from $1 to $10. It all depends per member is what you eventually want to do. But you want to be able to say, I've got an ability, or I've proven that I can earn money using either the launch strategy or selling your coaching. All right, takeaway from Jim. Don't be afraid to run the same offer 3 or 4 times a year. Facebook group members change and we'll want to do it again. Yeah, we have done the same challenges over and over again, and we have the same people go through it again. Because I'm teaching it live, I'm learning, so sometimes I'm getting feedback and I got something new to add. So there's always a reason for people to go through it again, and you're always going to have new people as well. Joey, I'm trying to come up with a membership for my men's ministry community group on Facebook. My group is the Fire Influenced Man. Awesome. He's using a free giveaway to collect emails. That's super smart, Joey. Love it. Tom says, thanks. That clarifies a lot for me. Start in Facebook, build the group, collect the emails, etc. Good job. Yeah, so here's why this is smart, Tom, okay? What you want to do is you want to create an ecosystem of communication. And here's what I mean by that. And you've probably seen me starting to really double down on this. When someone joins my list, my welcome email says, go join our private Facebook group. In the private Facebook group lately, I've been saying, hey, I've got a new text number where we can text each other. Text me. And guess what? That's a third connection point. Here's why this is smart. Because email still works, but it's been proven over the last couple years that email open rates are going down. What that says is people are scattered. They're getting a lot of communication. And let's say you've got 1,000 people on an email list. If 20% are opening, only 200 people are seeing it. It means 800 people are not. But if you have those same people in a Facebook group and you make the same announcement or the same, hey, I'm doing a workshop, people are going to see it on Facebook that didn't see it in the email. If you're using a text service like I use, there's another way that you can get them to show up. Some of you are here right now because I sent a text right before I went live. Some of you are here right now because I sent an email saying I am live. And some of you were hanging out on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter and you saw me pop up live. That's how you do it, my friend. You create an ecosystem of communication. And guess what's smart about that, Tom? If somebody, let's say, has a bad day and they unsubscribe from your email list, but then you have a really good post or you got a live video that they consumed on Facebook, you still got them, right? Or they get rid of the text, but you can still email them. It's a way to hold on to that person for longer communication. You don't have a single point of failure in your communication with your audience. Hope that helps. Dell, what is the setup you are using to broadcast these episodes? Is it MacBook Air, iPad, and streaming with Ecamm? Does the type of iPad matter? Does it need to be an iPad Pro? No, it does not need to be an iPad Pro. This is just your normal iPad. I've got it hooked up to my laptop here, and I am using Ecamm. So Ecamm is a Mac-only device. It's totally worth the cost. I think I maybe pay $100 or $200 a year, but with all of the training and teaching I do, it's amazing. I can stream in multiple places. I can go in YouTube. I can go in my private Facebook group. I can go on my Facebook fan page. I can go over on Periscope. I can even just record a video. If I want to record videos for my course, I can do a record only feature where I just hit the button, it records me, and then I hit the button again, and now I have a video to upload to Kajabi for my online course. It's that easy. So that's what I use. That's what I love. All right. Melody says, I have almost 4,000 in my group, but the only emails I have gotten are through occasional free giveaway. Excited to try your strategies. Yeah, one of the things, and this is, you might want to go back to the last one, Melody. I don't have, let me see here. Sometimes when I'm streaming and trying to do too much, I've got too much technology and too much hooked up here, it can be slow. But what you can do is you can have, and this is something that I teach in the Market Your Message Academy, is in your Facebook group, you can have membership questions. And one of the questions is to ask them for their email address. And it looks like this is going to be slow, so maybe this is a bad idea. Let me see if I can, well, here it comes. So let's see, Market Your Message Community, if this is going to help. Let me see if I switch screens, if this will help, because I've got two screens going on. Let's come over here, let's bring this over here. And see if this makes it a little bit easier. If not, I will just describe it and we'll move on. Oh boy. Always doing things on the fly here. Okay. And it looks like it's still going to be slow. So we're going to abandon that strategy. But what you want to have is you want to have three member questions that you can ask. One of those could be an email address. Now, for a long time, I had one of our assistants, virtual assistants, take the email address and go put it into ConvertKit for me to build the list. But in the last couple weeks, I have been using groupkit.com, and it's been working really, really well. So I'm a big fan of GroupKit. All right, to build that list as they join, right? Okay. All right, I just see one more takeaway and then we'll wrap this up. It's from Fred. The Facebook announcement that they are doubling down on groups. Is that opportunity knocking? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like wherever they're putting time, energy, and effort to is where you want to be. So they've added community or groups to like their core values, and they're doing a lot of things to push it. They've made it easier for people to go right to their groups on the mobile app. And there's going to be more. They've got features to roll out for group members or group admins that they used to not have. So now's the time. Now's the time to get your Facebook group going. And again, one more time before we wrap this up, if you are serious and say, Jonathan, I want to know the exact strategy that you are using to teach people how to do this method, you want to come join us, marketyourmessageacademy.com. You'll get all the stuff. You'll get what to post in your Facebook group. You'll get how to find those first 300 members. You'll get an ad strategy bonus if you want to do Facebook ads to get people into your group. You'll get the how to set up the workshop, the sales page. Where do you go to create the sales page to have the link? How do you set up that 3 days of live video? What do you say on those videos? All that and more is going to be happening at marketyourmessageacademy.com. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you again for being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Those of you that are in the Academy, I can't wait. We're getting started next week. And for the rest, we will see you here live again next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.